that drip drip. Everybody tripping, slipping on my drip. Got swag and we drip. Got swag and we drip.
Welcome back, Swagteam. It's your boy Swagologist back again with another SwagU movie review, and today we are doing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and this movie was so good. Oh my gosh, I really enjoyed this movie. I really think that it made the trilogy of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 a perfect trilogy. One of the next perfect trilogies within the MCU follow as the likes of Captain America, his trilogy, and definitely Guardians is one of the top best trilogies in the franchise for sure. All three movies was great, and I really loved this one. I really think that James Gunn, although sometimes his DC stuff kind of makes me scratch my head, although I like a lot of it but don't love any of it really, of James Gunn's DC projects, this one right here, his Guardians, like I said in my Fresh Out of the Theater review, which is now up on TikTok, make sure you check that out, is definitely in his bag. This man is in his bag when he goes to Guardians, because he is just perfect. He's perfectly made these characters. We love every single one of them, and he finds a way to make us love them even more in this film. The direction and the writing was done so well. His writing team, whether he wrote it by himself or wrote it with a group, was just done so well, because the comedy and anytime something heavy was going on, anytime a comedy would come through, it wouldn't mess it up or make it seem out of place. All the jokes came from the characters. They was never out of place at all to me. All the jokes hit for me. This movie is just done so well, and I think James Gunn is definitely in his bag when it comes to Guardians, so I hate to see him go from Guardians. Maybe he'll come back in the future for a Guardians film. I'm not sure. I just know he's got a lot on his plate with DC, and I hope he can bring his greatness from Guardians to DC. So far, not so much necessarily for me personally, although I do, like I said, I like his DC projects, but I don't love them, like the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, that stuff I liked, but I didn't love. I loved a couple episodes of Peacemaker, but I didn't fully love that, and I definitely didn't fully love the Suicide Squad, but I did like it. But this, loved it. Chris Pratt kills it as Star-Lord once again. Star-Lord was done so well in this film, but all of the Guardians, everybody shined. I really don't even have an MVP this time, but like I said, Star-Lord was great in this film, and I loved his interactions with all of the fellow Guardians, especially him and Gamora and him and Nebula. Nebula was very good in this film. She could be possibly an MVP, but yeah, I love what Star-Lord was doing. Like I said, Chris Pratt acted so well in this film, and he's perfectly portrayed as Star-Lord. And Peter Quill, of course, I think they did a good job with that. The action was done very well. I just love, I love his growth from each film and to now, and how he embraced his arc in this film, and from the culmination of all of the Guardians films and every interaction they've had throughout the MCU has come to this, and I think they did it so well for his character as well as all of the other characters, to be honest. I mean, like I said, this movie is just top to bottom really good. I love a new interaction between Gamora and the rest of the Guardians, because this Gamora, as we all know, is from the Endgame, and how she's completely oblivious to anything that happened in Guardians 1, 2, or in Infinity War, or any of that. She only just knows from her interactions with Thanos and coming back to her own in this film, and we get to see where she's at in this film, and what she is doing with her new life, coming from being, I believe it was 2016. It's 2016, 2015. Y'all remember from Endgame. The 2015-2016 version of Gamora is now living her life in a different way than we may expect in this film, but I love seeing her, and I love her interactions with the other team as well, especially with Star-Lord, and how that arc is continued and I think fulfilled in this film. I think this movie just does a great send-off to every one of the characters, and I was definitely on edge the whole movie about who's gonna die, who's gonna live, which I won't be telling y'all in this video, of course, but it's just, you're just on edge the whole movie because you just feel like somebody has to die because all those rumors of who's being done with the Guardians, and well as James Gunn saying this is the Guardians' last film, and you know, I mean this incarnation of the Guardians' last film. This is their send-off. This is their ending trilogy and whatnot. And I think they just did a great job with all of these characters, no matter what happens to them in this film. Speaking of great characters, Drax was amazing in this film. His comedic timing is just beautiful. Like I said, all the jokes in this film worked for me, and that was just great because they were just perfect to me, and I loved it. The writing and Drax's delivery and timing is just right on point, just beautiful. Drax is just so great. Batista is so great. It's sad that he said that he's done with Drax after this, but he was just so good as Drax in this film. Like, this is the best he's been as Drax this whole time in this film. Now, some people may hate that he's more comedic than he is a destroyer throughout the whole MCU run. I'm not even specifically talking about this film. I'm just talking about the whole MCU run. They would rather see Drax as a destroyer based off comics, and I get that. And like with me, when I go into an MCU film, I don't expect the comics to be just come from straight to the paper, straight to the film. I expect references and good things like that, but 90% of the time, especially if it's in a James Gunn film or a Taika Waititi film, I'm expecting more comedic from a new character than badass. Now, if they become a badass or they just are badass in general, I'm not going to be upset, and I'm also not going to be upset if they're more comedic and things of that nature. But I did love Drax in here. Drax was just, I'm talking about every time Drax spoke or was being Drax and it was funny, everybody laughed. No one missed he never was not funny with his delivery. Everything he did was hilarious. Even something that he did in the trailer was still funny within the movie. And that's the good thing about this movie. Anything you've seen in the trailer that you thought was funny, you're still going to find funny in this film. At least for me, I did. It was still funny either way. I love what they did here. And the rocket stuff. I know y'all are concerned with the rocket stuff. Will you be emotional in this film? I can tell you I definitely was. And if I've ever told you you're going to be emotional in a film and you was, then be prepared, because you will be emotional in this film. It hits all the spectrums of emotion, It hits every single one of them for me. Laugh, scared, sad, mad, all of that in one film, and I love it. I think they did an amazing job, and they did a great job of giving us what we wanted to know about Rocket. Anything you've been curious about Rocket about, they give it to you in this film, and I think it was great that they did that. I'm talking about any question you had about Rocket will be answered, so definitely get hyped, get excited for that. If you're a huge Rocket fan, they're going to give you the goods. I love Nebula in this film. Nebula was great, whether she was being a badass or just being her, and it was funny, because I'm gonna keep saying this, but the best comedy in the world is comedy that comes straight from the character. They brought it with each character being them was just hilarious. Like, that's what I love about James Gunn's Guardians. They are just funny because they are them and they're all idiots, and I love it. And it was just good to see them back at it again for another adventure. But Nebula was great in here. We fall more in love with her and her ability to deal with all the other characters, make her own path in her arc from where we met her in Volume 1 and 2 to where we are now with her is just excellent. I love it. I love Groot. I mean, Groot just knows when to say I'm Groot. You know what I'm saying? But as we know from Groot, Groot can say something that we don't expect, and we love it even more. Like, it's just, the writing is so good, y'all. I'm telling y'all gonna enjoy it because it was written so well. And this is just the perfect swan song to a trilogy. Just another great MCU film, but as well as an amazing and phenomenal Guardians film, but it's also a great MCU film. Like, I really love, and I'm excited to see what's going on next in the MCU. How did I feel about the villain? I think the High Evolutionary was a great villain. We hated him, we understood him, did a good job of being somebody we just cannot vibe with. We can't stand this man. We hope the Guardians win. We hope the Guardians can survive because we can see that he is super powerful, and they just brought it with this character. Speaking of villains, him, the dude that's supposed to, well, Adam Warlock, the man that's supposed to be him, Himothy, him God, Hemi Neutron, this man, I like what they did with him. I'm not going to say exactly what they did with him, but I like what they did with him. I understand what they did with him. So I don't want to give anything too much away, but I did enjoy seeing Adam Warlock played by my boy Eyebrows. If you know, you know. And I enjoyed him in this film. I understood why they did it that way. You're paying attention if you're not understanding why he's portrayed this way. But I think they did a good job with the way they portrayed him, and I don't feel like it's betrayed him because he still shows that he's a badass. So just make sure you're looking out for him. I think you're going to enjoy him. Mantis. I really enjoyed Mantis too. Like I'm going to end up saying that about every character, but of course I enjoyed Mantis as well. I think they expanded on her character, and I love the fact that this movie, where it does give off some information in other series such as the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, which you should definitely check out if you haven't checked out. So make sure you check out that before you see the movie if you haven't seen it. But this movie, you don't have to see that to understand what the hell's going on in this film necessarily, but it would enhance your viewership if you go watch that film before watching this. But I love what Mantis brings to the table. I love seeing her in action with the other Guardians, and then her and Drax are always priceless. They're just great together. They've been great together ever since Volume 2 when she was introduced, and they just continue that arc and make a beautiful film. This movie is just so good, y'all. I can't get enough of it. I can't stop thinking about it. It is great. Definitely well worth seeing in any format. I saw it in IMAX, and I had an amazing time with this film. It does have 2 after credit scenes. There's a mid credit scene and an after credit scene, but you shouldn't suspect anything less from James Gunn, who brought us 4 after credit scenes after Volume 2. So you knew he was gonna bring us some goods, and there's some good stuff at those 2 after credit scenes. So you make sure you're paying attention to that and stay for those, because I think you're gonna like them. I think all of the Guardians that we've known for a long time brought it this film and did an amazing job. Any other side characters that came through, I think you're gonna get a good kick out of that. I think this is it's just a beautiful swan song, a beautiful ending of the trilogy, and I really, really loved all of the Guardians. I liked hating the villains, and I love seeing the different interactions between the characters in this film. I love what they did with each character. I love the way I felt at the end, and you will get emotional in this film if you love the Guardians thus far and you've seen all of the other stuff. You're gonna get emotional, I'm sure of it. If you've gotten emotional at anything that I told you you're gonna get emotional before, be prepared, because here it comes. My SwagU grade for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 would have to be a solid A++. This is one of those great ones, y'all. I will not steer you wrong. I promise you, you're gonna love it. If you love the other Guardians films, if you love these characters and you love the Guardians films, this is the film for you. Don't want to miss it. You want to be there. So make sure you go check it out and tell me what you think in the comment section below, or any social media sites at the bottom. If you want to get real spoiler, we've been talking to social media sites at the bottom. And also, if you want me to do a spoiler review, make sure you hit the comment section right now and let me know that you definitely want to see me do a spoiler review, because I love this movie and I ain't got no problems with talking about it more with y'all, because this movie was that damn good. If you're new here and you're trying to join the Swag Team, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below or hit it right here when it pops up on the side. Also, if you want to be the first to Swag Team to see a video that pops up on the channel, make sure you hit that notification bell that'll pop right up when you join the Swag Team. So you hit that subscribe button, then a bell will pop up. You click that ding, then you never miss a video that pops up on the channel, whether it's on your computer, cell phone, tablet, whatever. So make sure you do that so you don't miss on any of the swag when it drops, man. But yes, let me know how you feel about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Are you excited as I am? I almost want to, I do. Not almost. I do want to see it again. It was that damn good. I loved it. I want to watch the first 2 and just see it again, because my goodness, James Gunn was in his bag with this one right here. I really had a good time. I really love the Guardians, and this one just made me love each one of them characters even more. I hope we can see them again. I hope they got more for us. I cannot wait. Make sure you stay for the after credits, the 2 after credit scenes. Make sure you stay for that. And like I said, let me know how you feel about it all down there in the comment section and the social media sites at the bottom. If you like this review, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. It helps with the channel. But if you didn't like it, I ain't tripping. Look at Jordan. I ain't pivoting until the next video. I love y'all 3000. I'll holla. Peace.